Hey guys, how's it going? Ed here, and this is my fragrance reviewer tag response video. Lupe from the Lupexperience is the guy that originally came up with this really cool video concept that has spread through the community like wildfire. I've loved watching everyone's tag videos out there. I've really got to know a lot of other people and learn a lot more about their sense of style and taste. And I was tagged by, I guess I come under the sort of blanket impersonal UK and Ireland reviewer tag that Raj, 8RK7, put out there. And also I was tagged by my friend from Australia, Natalie Patel. So without further ado, let's get stuck into these 12 questions. Okay, question number 1. What are your earliest fragrance memories? I guess my earliest fragrance memory would have to be from when I was 6 or 7, and I had an uncle who used to come round and visit every so often, and when he used to come round he used to give me a big hug. And when he gave me a hug, I could smell what I presume was his aftershave, I think. And it was this slightly citric, astringent smell, which, to be perfectly honest, I wasn't actually that keen on, but I guess that would have to be my first fragrance memory. Question number 2. What was your first fragrance purchase? My first fragrance purchase with my own money was Clinique Happy for Men by Clinique. Before then, I'd had fragrances given to me as like sort of birthday presents or Christmas presents, but Clinique Happy for Men, that was the first fragrance that I ever bought with my own money. Question number 3. What was your first niche purchase? That's easy. My first niche purchase was Virgin Island Water by Creed, and I remember being at Selfridges years ago now in London, and I was approached by this very orange-looking, very excitable Austrian fellow who said that I simply had to try this fragrance, and to begin with I was a bit wary. I was like, okay, but as soon as I got a whiff of it on my skin, I instantly fell in love with it, and I was like, you know what, I have to have this straight away. And interestingly enough, that is, I think, the only purchase I've made based off of, or only purchase that I've made for myself based off a recommendation from a sales assistant. Question number 4. What was your first blind buy? Don't really do the whole blind buying thing, to be perfectly honest. I much rather prefer to sort of sample the fragrances out there. First fragrance blind buy. That would have to be Elixir de Merveille by Hermes. Love that stuff, I think it's great. Question number 5, what was your best blind buy? Again, I'm going to have to go with Elixir de Merveille by Hermes. A bit boring, I know, but yeah. Really nice, really under the radar fragrance as well. I think at the time of making this video, there are possibly only 2 full reviews of it out in the YouTube fragrance community, which I think is great because hopefully that means that not a lot of people are wearing it. Question number 6. What was your worst blind buy? My worst blind buy was Guerlain Homme by Guerlain. I remember reading a lot about it online on Base Notes and Fragrantica, and I believe that was the first male fragrance that Thierry Wasser did, so I was kind of excited about it. I remember going to Boots, bought it blind, unsniffed, got home, tried it on, and cried because on my skin it was this cheap, horrible, nasty synthetic mess, and I was like, what the hell have I done? So yeah, that was my worst blind buy. Question number 7. What are your favourite fragrance notes? Quite a few. Fruits, citruses, woods, leathers, amber, cinnamon, vanilla, chocolate. Big fan of boozy notes. Green notes. Really starting to get into florals. I think floral notes are really interesting and complex. I like anything that's notes that are sort of a bit lactonic or creamy in nature. But to be perfectly honest, I'm much more into accords than individual notes themselves. I'm fascinated by the way that a perfumer can throw together a bunch of different notes to create unique and individual accords that have a vibe and a feeling that is completely different from all those things individually. So yeah, those are some of my favourite fragrance notes, but to be honest at the moment I'm much more into accords than... Okay, question number 8. What is your favourite fragrance house? Gosh, this is a bit of a toughie. There are so many fragrance houses out there and perfumers that I really admire, that I think do a lot of great stuff. So to pin it down to one single fragrance house is pretty much impossible. But for the sake of this tag video, I'm going to have to say Guerlain, purely for the fact that they are one of the sort of oldest, most historical, stately fragrance houses out there, just like Dior and Chanel. But the reason why I'm going to go with Guerlain is that I guess out of those 3 houses that I've just mentioned, Guerlain have the most number of fragrances that I personally like, so gosh, yeah, Guerlain, I'm going to have to go with Guerlain. Number 9, what fragrance best describes you? I guess anything unique, different, creative, individual, nothing too strong or overpowering, not really into fragrances that have kind of like beast mode, projection and sillage. I like the kind of fragrances that, you know, when a person kind of gets just close enough to you, like when they're kind of like on the verge of your sort of personal space, they'll be able to get a whiff of what you're wearing, and it kind of makes them think, oh, that's nice. So, so I guess that kind of fragrance is probably the sort that best describes me. Question 10, what is your favourite fragrance? That is another really difficult question to answer because there are so many fragrances out there that I love. You know, I'm constantly coming across new fragrances, new brands, new perfumers, and my taste is changing all the time. But at the moment, my favourite fragrance is, gosh, Esparta by Parfumerie Générale. Absolutely love that. I think that is one of the best rose fragrances out there at the moment, and one of only 2 rose-based fragrances. Nope, sorry, tell a lie. One of only 3 rose-based fragrances that I can wear, and out of those 3, Esparta by Parfumerie Générale is by far and away my favourite fragrance. So yes, at the moment, at the time of filming this, my favourite fragrance is Esparta by Parfumerie Générale. Question 11. What is your fragrance profile? I guess my fragrance profile would have to be a guy that wears interesting, unique, creative fragrances. I tend to divide my fragrances up by seasons, so in the spring and summer I tend to go with slightly lighter, fruitier, more citrusy fragrances. Generally speaking, I like fragrances that are complex, that have a lot of depth and layer, a lot of nuances to them. But that's not necessarily the case with the fragrances that I choose to wear in the spring and the summertime. So long as it smells really nice, I can be okay with fragrances being sort of reasonably simplistic and even a little bit linear. And in the autumn and winter, they are my favourite seasons of the year. I love fragrances that are deeper, richer, darker, more heady and potent fragrances that are a lot stronger, sweeter fragrances as well. And yeah, I guess that's kind of my fragrance profile. Question 12. What are your fragrance resolutions going forward? My fragrance resolutions going forward, I've actually got a couple of them. Firstly, to put out more content on a regular basis, because I am a 10th Dan fucking black belt when it comes to procrastination. If there's something that I need to do tomorrow, I'll do it a month later instead. That's just who I am. I'm a bit of a loser, so I apologise. So to put out more content on a more frequent basis, I want to explore raw materials as well, you know, just sort of start to play about with them and see what happens, basically. I don't profess to be a perfumer by any stretch of the imagination, but it would be interesting just to sort of play around and see what happens. Also, I would like to learn a bit more about the industry itself, in particular the promotion and marketing of niche, indie and artisanal brands. So I guess going forwards, those are my round things off. Who am I going to be tagging next? Well, I'm going to be a bit greedy here and I'm going to tag 3 people. GreggyBoy76, want to see a video from you. Alex over at Masters of Style, want to see a video from you. And also I would love to see a video from, I guess at the moment she's a little known reviewer who goes by the username of Smell of Petrichor. She has a lot of talent, she knows what she's talking about, and I think more people out there need to see her, because she is very talented. And at the moment the fragrance community has precious few women in it, and I think us as guys always appreciate the opinion of an educated, well-versed woman. So there we go, that's been my tag response video. Hopefully it hasn't been too boring, and yeah, cheers for watching guys, take care.